Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I'll say it again. I was not planning on making this video. I was just getting back from about a 4 mile walk around my town here in Bristol, and as you can see, I just walked in the door, and I wanted to make this video before I forgot any of it. Like I said, for about the last hour, I've been thinking about this, and it's probably the worst Thanksgiving I've ever had. It was almost exactly probably 30 years ago. That would be 1992. Thanksgiving 1992. I was 30 years old. The reason I'm making this video, just for your thought, your entertainment, but especially if you have somebody in your family that might have an addiction problems, or you have an addiction problem, I just want to I want to give you my thoughts, just something to think about. I remember when I was using, and I had heard everything about, why I shouldn't use and all this other stuff. But I was there, and let me just share this worst Thanksgiving with you guys. Like I said, it was about 30 years ago. Now, back when I was younger, the day before Thanksgiving, we used to call it the biggest bar night of the year. Even bigger than New Year's. Everybody was supposed to go out from all the people you went to high school with or college with, and meet back in your hometown and drink the night away, and then get up early the next day and go to the high school football game and drink some more. This all sounds horrific to me right now, but that night, let me share that night with you. I was living in the city of Waterbury, Connecticut, and I was actually living in gang territory. It was one of the lowest points of my life. I was actually renting a room from a friend, and that night I went to a bar called Amici's on Bank Street in Waterbury, Connecticut. And I remember bits and pieces of the night starting out. Like I said, everybody came back to town, and this is something that happened early on in that night. I was confronted by four of my ex-girlfriends: Sherry, Roseanne, Julie, and Diane. They all just happened to be there that one night. Girls I had dated. I just remember, everybody, I was smiling, they were smiling, and we all thought it was kind of funny, but there was a lot of anger and contempt in that little meeting. And I think that just led to a reason for me to drink even more and use even more back then. Cocaine and crack were my main drugs of choice back then, and alcohol. And I continued drinking the whole night, and I don't remember much of that night. But let me tell you about the next day, Thanksgiving morning. I woke up, and as usual, I was supposed to go eat with my entire family. I think we were going out to a restaurant, and I hadn't slept. I hadn't slept at all. I can't remember most of the night at the bar, but I hadn't slept one wink because, of course, as soon as I got back from the bar, I used all night smoking rock. And I remember having double vision, and my sister was going to pick me up, and she's like, "Daryl, you got to go." She kept telling me, and I couldn't picture myself making it through Thanksgiving. I felt nauseous. I could barely stand up. I was having double vision. So I told her to come pick me up. This was right before noon on Thanksgiving Day. And I didn't have my car. I didn't even know where my car was. It turned out it was in another town. Thank God I hadn't driven it that night. And we went back and got my car. And at that point, I remember telling my sister, there's just no way. I remember telling her, I'm going to end up knocking over tables. I have double vision. I'm nauseous. And I remember telling her this. I remember picturing in my head bumping into tables and knocking over drinks and stuff. And I told her, I said, I can't go. This is the only Thanksgiving I've ever missed in my life, I think, with my family. And okay, so this is how my Thanksgiving Day went that year. My sister was very disappointed. I left it up to her, of course, being the coward that I was. I left it up to her to go back and tell my family that I wasn't coming. I went home and to the room I was renting, and there was a bodega. We call them, little Spanish convenience stores right across the street from the room I was renting. And it was open. And I went over there, and out of the $600 check I had gotten the day before, I had maybe, I think, $3 left to my name. And I went over there and I bought 1 can of Hormel chili without beans and a small bag of Fritos. And I went back to my apartment, and I had no cable. I had just like I said, it was just one room. There was a couch in the room. I slept on the couch. I remember laying on the floor with my bowl of chili, watching it was a black and white. We used to have black and white TVs back then, with no cable. I don't know what was on. I could only get maybe 1 or 2 channels. I think there was Bowling for Dollars or something like that. Something just painful to watch. And I laid there eating my chili and Fritos. And that was my Thanksgiving dinner that year. Now here's the worst part of all this. At that very moment, my family was at a restaurant, missing me terribly. My family was, me, my sister, and my mother were very close. And then my sister was married, my mother was married, but after my father died. And I know that me not being there was hurtful to them. So as I was laying there, because I couldn't control myself because of my addictions, laying there eating a bowl of chili and Fritos, they were across town. I think looking back, it hurts me more knowing, not feeling sorry for myself about the chili and the cheese, my Thanksgiving, but how bad I felt about their Thanksgiving. Now, here's the big thing too that I've learned since I've lost Audrey, my girlfriend. We could be gone from this earth. I could be gone from this earth tomorrow easily. Sooner or later, that day is going to come. When it's going to be my last day. For all of us, everyone watching this, your last day. This, before you won't know it, but it's going to be your last day. We only have so many Thanksgivings. We have only so many days, especially as your parents get older. This is one of the main. I swear, this is one of the main reasons that led to me getting clean and sober. Is I was continually lying to my mother about to get money and stuff, but I did not want her leaving this earth with me still using and addicted and lying to her. I wanted to have some clean time with my mother. If that's the way it played out, that I was still using when she's still alive, thankfully today. She's going to be 80 soon. And, I wouldn't have been able to, live with myself. I was using, but this is one of the clear things that I had in my mind back then is, it was very important to me that I have some clean time with my mother. And, this is what I think. Now, these last 16 years have been the best of my life. I remember, I couldn't imagine. I had to use before every Thanksgiving day. I thought I was like the main person at the Thanksgiving Day table. So I always had to drink and to use so I could talk and be the life of the party and keep things going, keep the conversation going. And that was just bull. Since I've been clean and sober, it's the real me now. And my family, honestly, they tear up when they talk about this. They could not be happier. The last 16 years have been the best, the best of my entire life and my family's. The best years of their lives because I'm back. I have my soul back, and I could actually share time with them and be present instead of being under the influence. There's Christmases that I actually spent passed out on the floor. I don't even remember the Christmases. I don't even remember opening up my presents. This isn't partying. This isn't a good time. This isn't, there's no fun in it. And the worst thing is we only have so many days, there's a very finite amount of time we have to spend with the people we love. All right, recovery is possible. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.